emotional intelligence, self-reflection. It can all seem a bit newfangled, a bit hard to define, something we've not come across before, certainly not come across day to day. Isn't it just a load of
humbug? Oh, don't be cross, Uncle. How can I help being cross?
But a shortcut that I use for thinking about someone who grew their emotional intelligence quickly is Scrooge. Now, I know he seems like a fictional character, but his views were actually based on political economist Thomas Malthus. It's a timeless story, and there's been over 24 film versions already. We're looking at just one of those now. As a writer, I see Scrooge as a fantastic character. He's got a really strong opinion on others, and he reflects about other people a lot.
If I had my way, sir, every fool who goes about saying Merry Christmas would be boiled with his own pudding.
He's also got a strong vision of how he believes others see him.
You were always a good man of business, Jacob.
They see him as a good, prudent businessman, he thinks. But he hasn't really reflected on how he's viewed.
His partner's on the point of death, I hear. And there he sat, alone. Quite alone in the world, I do believe.
He hasn't reflected on his own behaviour and how his behaviour impinges on others.
Suppose you'll want all day off tomorrow, eh?
It only happens once a year, sir.
That's a pretty excuse for picking a man's pocket every 25th of December.
Lucky old Scrooge, in his story A Christmas Carol, he gets some supernatural help to change his behaviour. He gets shown his actions in the past. He hears how others refer to him when they're really being honest.
Founder of the feast indeed. I wish I had him here. I'd give him a piece of my mind to feast upon. With such an odious, stingy, hard, unfeeling man as Mr. Scrooge. You know he is, Robert.
And he also sees the future and how his actions shape it.
Yes, my dear. I've seen where our tiny Tim is to rest.
And again, he gets a true picture, an honest picture of how his colleagues feel about him.
I thought he'd never die. Heaven knows. What's he done with his money? Left it to his company, perhaps. He hasn't left it to me. That's all I know.
Now, we don't have, or we don't even need, spirit guides.
And know me better, man.
Perhaps one way we can do it is by simply asking.
Mr. Scrooge. Yes, that's
Asking people about our reputation and how they view us.
Will you allow me to ask your pardon? And would you be good enough to put me down?
Now, fingers crossed, I hope no one watching this is an extreme character as Scrooge is. But what I like about Dickens' storytelling technique is that he never puts a blame on Scrooge. It's not as simple as he's just a bad egg. We know Scrooge, we've seen him in his early days. We see him when he was an apprentice. We know that he wasn't always like this, but that somehow he's lost his way. Let's have a think about how we end the story. What's actually changed? Underneath it all is Scrooge's motivation. It's no longer just about the bottom line.
I'll be a second father to you.
It's about his personal growth.
I've come to dinner. Will you let me in, Fred?
But also about his empathy to others. It's gone from nothing to excellent.
Merry Christmas to you, Uncle. A merrier Christmas, my good fellow, than I've given you for many a year.
And change, growing your emotional intelligence, it can be instant. It's something that you can do something about tomorrow.
It is Christmas Day, isn't it?
Why, of course.
I knew I hadn't missed it. Oh, the spirits have done it all in one night.
And the good news is, it's never too late. You just need to have something that you can hold in your heart every day.
God bless us all. God bless us, everyone.